This week on Ebert and Roeper.
Something wrong with your brother.
Hey, shh, you're gonna blow it. I'm undercover. She is movie star material.
You want to go out on a date with me?
The best horse racing scenes I think have ever been filmed. Watch you, watch you. Tobey Maguire rides for a shot at redemption in Seabiscuit. It's not hitting theaters until next weekend, but we'll have a first look in a special expanded segment later in the show. Plus our favorite new titles on DVD, or at least one of his favorite titles. I'm Richard Roeper. And I'm Roger Ebert. The original Bad Boys was only a medium-sized hit back in 1995, but Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are even bigger stars now, and they're back in the endless and unnecessary Bad Boys 2. They play Miami narcotics cops on the trail of a Cuban-American drug lord, and their investigation involves chases and shootouts and chases and shootouts and shootouts and chases with timeouts and some wise guy dialogue that guys think is a lot funnier than we do.
Police, move! Oh. We lost the coffin, and you about to shoot our only lead, Mike. This has got to be the worst, most emotional cop week of my life.
Gabrielle Union stars as Lawrence's sister and Smith's new squeeze, but to avoid slowing down the plot for romantic asides, they make her a drug cop, too.
It means that my orders are, under no circumstances, share information with Miami PD because they got too many leaks.
Oh, I'm Miami PD now. Oh, you done forgot I'm your big brother, huh? That's reckless, it was stupid, and it was dangerous. I'm telling Mommy.
How many times have we seen this scene where the exasperated captain chews out his two bad boys?
I'm through playing games, all right? I had 3 cops, critical. I got kids dying on my street. I do not want these animals taking over my city. Do you understand?
That's Joe Pantoliano, who, unlike a lot of movie police chiefs, at least acknowledges that half the city was terrorized by bloody carnage on the freeway. Bad Boys 2 is stupid and vulgar, but we expected that. What surprised me is how mean-spirited this movie is. For example, in a scene where a nervous young man arrives to take out Lawrence's daughter, and the 2 cops threaten and intimidate him, draw a gun on him, use the N-word on him, and all of this is supposed to be funny, I guess, because Lawrence is worried about his daughter's virtue. Actually, it's so cruel that I wonder what in the world the filmmakers were thinking of.
You're so right. This is a nasty, mean-spirited movie. It's also homophobic. They rely on a lot of cheap gay-bashing jokes. And it's really got a mean streak in it, and grisly, with scenes of corpses and heads falling off and bodies stuffed in bins, and they're all yucking it up, and it's supposed to be funny because they're like winking at the camera, but it's not funny stuff.
And what about that scene where the Hummer goes down the hillside with a shantytown on it and destroys dozens of shanties? Apparently there are some drug dealers there, but on the other hand, there are also dozens, if not hundreds, of poor people who are just killed and they're not even thought of.
Nobody cares.
Oh, how funny that their shacks are being run
cares.
over.
And I mean, there are some unintentional laughs. At one point, Gabrielle Union, she leads this huge chase through the streets of Miami, and all this destruction and people blowing up and cars tumbling this way and that. And then she says to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence after the chase, hey, shh, you're going to blow it. I'm undercover. And she takes them under a viaduct so no one will see him. I mean, it's just a stupid movie, and it's also bloated. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
2 hours and a half long.
Ridiculous.
What are they thinking of? Do they think this is Gone with the Wind or what?
I really despise this film. Terrible piece of work. Okay, our next movie probably had about 1% of Bad Boy 2's budget, but it's about 100 times more entertaining. It's called Dirty Pretty Things. It opens this week in New York and L.A., and it stars Audrey Tautou from Amelie. Now, I almost called my first Urban Legends book, They're Stealing Our Kidneys, because that organ-stealing myth is one of the most enduring of our times. In Dirty Pretty Things, kidneys aren't being stolen is even more horrific than that. Illegal immigrants in London are actually submitting to kidney removals in exchange for passports and fast cash. Chiwetel Ejiofor plays Okwe, a Nigerian immigrant who drives a cab by day and at night works the front desk at a really seedy hotel, the kind of place where the hookers feel at home, the doorman is a crooked sneak, and when you unclog a toilet, a human heart bubbles up.
It is a heart. A human heart.
What?
Perhaps you should telephone the police.
Police? You think I should call the police?
Senor Juan, someone is dead.
And that's Sergi Lopez in a brilliantly evil performance as the scumbag hotel manager who runs the organ trading business.
Audrey Tattoo is Shanae, a Turkish immigrant who considers surrendering her kidneys so she can escape to New York.
You keep away from Senor Juan.
This is like taking out a tooth.
Keep lying, Shanae. Because you are poor, you will be gutted like an animal. They will cut you here, or they will cut you here. They will take what they want and leave the rest to rot.
One of the laundry girls did it, and now she's free.
Director Stephen Frears, whose previous work includes My Beautiful Laundrette and The Grifters, has a real gift for exploring the lives of people who live on the fringes, barely noticed by mainstream society. He's mining some grisly and heartbreaking storylines here, but Dirty Pretty Things also has some great touches of black humor. Ejiofor and Tattoo are strong and dignified in the face of unspeakable horrors, and Lopez is one of the more despicable villains in recent years. Dirty Pretty Things is sharp and weird. It's a movie about London with no major characters who are British. I like that a lot.
Yeah, you have people from the Balkans and from Russia and from Africa and from Asia, and they all get along with each other because they're all in the same boat. This is a thriller that is really about something. It's about this immigrant subculture. It's about this trade in kidneys, and it's about love, and it's about loyalty, and it's about being true to yourself. And I really got involved in its values as well as being very excited about it.
There's a lot of great dialogue between even some of the supporting characters. There are no wasted scenes here. When we see his life as a cab driver, we learn a little bit about the cab driver characters. And, you know, this guy was a doctor in Nigeria, so he's still doing some work in the back room helping people with various health problems. I mean, there's a lot going on here in every inch of the movie.
This actor, Ejiofor, I think, might possibly have a future as a movie star, even though I'm sure that he was cast basically for this very specialized Nigerian role. He is really good on the screen.
Yeah, and the same thing with Audrey Tattoo. I mean, she was so cute, almost too cutesy in Amelie. It's nice to see her play a completely different kind of character here and see that she really has a lot of talent as an actress.
Coming up next, one of the creepiest horror films I've ever seen.
And Will Ferrell breaks loose in a thumbs-up video.
Ebert Roeper's Thumbs Up Video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
You don't think I'm weird?
I do think you're weird.
I know that.
I like weird.
But he has no idea how weird she really is. A great new horror film named May is about a strange young woman whose obsessions are funny at first and then terrifying. And let's flash back to when Richard and I first argued about it on this show.
And the filmmaker is saying, watch me, I'm going to shock you. Look at what I'm going to do now.
This movie is a major horror
There's
film.
no moment in that movie that I found the least bit scary. Many that I found disgusting.
I don't know when I've disagreed with you more. So Richard didn't like it. That's an understatement, but it's my thumbs-up video pick this week. Angela Bettis stars in a brilliant performance as a shy girl who goes out on her first date, and it doesn't turn out so well.
You like weird.
Not that weird.
I like the way the other people in May behave realistically when they realize they're dealing with a disturbed person. They're not like these oblivious horror movie people who just are chumps and walk into danger. And Angela Bettis' performance is truly, deeply creepy. Most horror movies are comedies. This one isn't.
I'm so happy for you that that's coming out on DVD. Now, if it's ever playing on an airplane, I'm going to find out if my seat really is a flotation device, because I'm jumping out, okay? Now then, Frances McDormand was Oscar nominated for Almost Famous as a protective single mom who doesn't understand the magic of rock and roll. In Laurel Canyon, McDormand is wonderful and sexy as an absentee single mom who lives for rock and roll. And the funniest movie so far this year, Old School, is out in a special unrated edition with extras that include a brilliant parody of the Actors Studio with Will Ferrell doing James Lipton, interviewing stars Luke Wilson, Vince Vaughn, and Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, shameless clown, overweight, head case.
This is one of the few comedies in recent years that matches the cheerful vulgarity, the blatant sexuality, and the sheer lunacy of the great National Lampoon comedies of the early 80s.
Half the people I know seem to be reading Seabiscuit, but should they see the movie? Our first look is coming up.
And we'll look at How to Deal, starring Mandy Moore.
Don't give a fuck.
The quickest way to ruin a relationship with someone is to actually try and have a relationship with them. Haven't you noticed when the opposite sex gets together, eventually someone ends up getting hurt?
I've seen a lot of dumb teen romances in the last couple of years, but How to Deal is a welcome exception. In the world of pop music princesses, Mandy Moore has always been the bridesmaid to Britney Spears. But as an actress, Moore has shown much greater potential. How to Deal sounds like an instructional blackjack video, but it's actually a showcase for a young talent who really could become a full-fledged star. Moore plays a high school junior named Hallie who's seen more than her share of heartache and tragedy. At 17, she already believes love is a total illusion. Peter Gallagher, who's made a mid-career specialty of playing pompous womanizers, is hilarious as Hallie's divorced dad, a wacky DJ who's now engaged to his traffic babe.
I'm not that old!
And Allison Janney from The West Wing is terrific as Hallie's mom, who periodically loses the struggle to control her seething rage.
Your father's not a loser. Although he did choose to look like one at our wedding, too. He insisted on wearing a powder blue tuxedo.
But How to Deal really belongs to Mandy Moore, who reminded me a bit of Molly Ringwald in those classic John Hughes coming-of-age films from the 80s. In fact, there's more than a sprinkling of 16 candles here, from the older sister wedding stories to the wacky grandparent to the hunky guy love interest, who's not nearly as interesting as the ingenue. Hallie is smart and cute and earnest and occasionally bratty and selfish, and guys better have more than good hair and a car to keep up with her. How to Deal has a few too many overly dramatic developments, and it sometimes strays into movie of the week manipulations, but it has a true, sincere heart, and there's a natural star turn for Mandy Moore, who I think could become a real movie star.
Well, I'm giving a thumbs down because I think there are too many elements to the plot. They're juggling about 3.5 different romances, but I agree with you about Mandy Moore. She's got a freshness and an appeal that's absolutely there. She is movie star material, and Allison Janney is wonderful in this movie. It's not just your teenage movie mom. She has a whole well-developed character that really has a life of her own, and I like both of them a whole lot.
Boy, I don't know. That sounds like maybe you're going to go thumbs up on that. You're awfully close. You like the mom character. You like Mandy Moore. You say there's a couple of good love stories going here. You got a chance here. Maybe
in terms of a story with this kind of material, I Capture the Castle was a lot better.
Well, you think that was better. I didn't like that film in particular, but you're awfully close on this movie, and I hope people do go see it, because Mandy Moore, I think, is going to be a star for you.
You're right. Okay.
Thank you. I am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In a summer of superheroes, my favorite hero is a horse. Seabiscuit was a small horse for a thoroughbred and a loser in his early life, but in the hands of an owner, a trainer, and a jockey who understood him, he became the most loved racehorse of his time. Laura Hillenbrand's bestseller linked the horse, its humans, and the Great Depression into 3 stories of comebacks. And now the movie tells the story of a poor kid named Red Pollard who bonds with the horse and rides him to greatness.
Let's see what you got, boy.
That's Tobey Maguire as the jockey. William H. Macy's zany radio announcer reports on the horse to a nation eager for good news.
As a matter of fact, I'll lay even money that this nag Seabiscuit couldn't even finish 6 furlongs. This is Tick-Tock McLaughlin live at Parker's Corner.
Against all odds, the scrappy little horse dominates racing in the West. Jeff Bridges plays Charles Howard, the owner, who is determined to set up a race between his underdog and the great war admiral who rules the tracks of the East.
Do you want to see a match race? Yeah! You do? You want to see this young fella ride that horse? See this guy?
Bridges and Maguire fit perfectly into their roles, and Chris Cooper is wonderful as Tom Smith, a down-and-out trainer who knows at first sight that the troubled Seabiscuit has the makings of a champion. Seabiscuit is a story of victory against all odds at a time when millions of Americans were out of work and war clouds were gathering in Europe. The story is told in a surprisingly moving way with a lot of heart and no fancy stuff, and all those lead actors, Bridges, Maguire, and Cooper, are gifted at playing the kind of men where what you see is what you get. It's kind of amazing how worked up we can get about a racehorse.
Yeah, it is amazing. Seabiscuit is the first major studio film of 2003 that merits consideration as a serious Oscar contender, from the powerful acting to the sure-handed direction to Randy Newman's heart-tugging score. If you've been waiting all summer for a story that doesn't rely on explosions and car chases and computer-generated effects, here it is. The tone of this film is aggressively sentimental, but the Seabiscuit legend deserves that kind of treatment. Here, Howard meets with Smith in a scene that probably has no resemblance to their first meeting in real life, but does capture the essence of their personalities.
Every horse is good for something. He could be a cart horse or a lead pony. He's still nice to look at. You don't throw a whole life away just 'cause he's banged up a little.
Fresh off his Oscar for adaptation, Chris Cooper is equally memorable here as the stoic Smith, and Jeff Bridges does so much just by flashing different levels of smiles and letting us see the weight of his struggles in his eyes. Bill Macy strikes a totally different tone, lending that comic relief as a sneaky radio reporter.
I thought maybe you were getting a horse ready for the 100-grander.
No, just a 2-year-old.
Hair of the dog.
I also loved Elizabeth Banks as Howard's second wife, Marcella, who becomes a kind of surrogate mother to Pollard and isn't shy about advising her husband.
Just let him ride, Charles. Just let him do it.
Now, like Hillenbrand's wonderful book, the film curiously ignores the primary reason for horse racing's popularity, which is wagering. We hardly see a tote board, and there's little talk of odds and trifectas and exactas. The movie version also glosses over some of the darker shades of the story, including Pollard's alcoholism. But, of course, edit choices have to be made when telling a great American epic that spans decades, and writer-director Gary Ross has done a magnificent job of bringing this mythic tale of Seabiscuit to life. It's also a great action movie with by far the best horse racing scenes I think have ever been filmed.
Well, that's amazing when the jockeys are actually talking to each other or shouting at each other or battling with each other. Those are really good scenes. And, you know, what's nice about this movie is the way that it isn't just an underdog sports movie, but it also has this larger idea about people who are struggling to make a comeback. The jockey who was kind of given up by his parents, the trainer who was a homeless person, the owner who was into car racing and decided horses were a lot more authentic. There's a lot of value going on here in terms of their own lives.
Well, like Seabiscuit, who was not considered a great horse when he was young, these men in the first parts of their lives had a lot of setbacks and struggles, and they all kind of find redemption with this second chance with this horse. And they find friendship with each other, which is really sweet. One of the nice things about this movie, there's not some hardcore villain here. You know, I mean, everybody, you have a reason to root for a lot of the characters.
I also like the way David McCullough, the historian, kind of provides a narration to set it all in the context of the Great Depression.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, coming up next, I'm mad at the MPAA, and you should be too.
Visit our website at ebertandroper.tv or at movies.com.
We've been talking all summer about the wonderful family movie Whale Rider, about a 12-year-old Maori girl from New Zealand who wants to be the leader of her tribe. In my review, I said, take the kids and they'll see a movie that will touch their hearts and minds.
Roger Ebert calls Whale Rider a wonderful, enchanting, magical film, amazingly emotional. Take the kids and they'll see a great movie that will touch their hearts and minds.
Amazingly, the MPAA ratings board has objected to that line being used in the movie ads. They say a film with a PG-13 rating can't be marketed to children, even though I said, take the kids, not send them in alone. When Whale Rider and the strip-teasing bimbos of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle get exactly the same PG-13 rating, the category has no meaning at all. Whale Rider is a wonderful and inspirational movie. It contains no nudity, no sex, no F-words, no violence. Why is it rated PG-13? Well, because you see a marijuana pipe in the uncle's house and because of a few low-level vulgarities. First, the MPAA slaps one of the best family films of the year with a ridiculous rating, and then it tells the studio it can't advertise it for families. This is not a service to the public. The rating system is broken, and it needs to be fixed.
Well, you know, we just raved about Seabiscuit, which is also PG-13, and if somebody said to me, should I take my 10-year-old or my 12-year-old to see this film, I'd say, please take your child to see this film. It's a wonderful picture for people of all ages.
The PG-13 has too many movies that should be PG and too many movies that should be R.
There you go. Okay, looking ahead to next week's show, we'll review Angelina Jolie in Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. Also opening this week is Johnny English, a completely unnecessary and nearly chuckle-free spy movie spoof starring Rowan Atkinson, who was very funny as a priest in 4 Weddings and a Funeral because it was a 2-minute role. Any longer than that, and he tends to overstay his welcome. Thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down for me, too. I don't think at this point we really need another spy spoof, do you?
No, we do not. Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs way down for Bad Boys 2, 2 thumbs up for Dirty Pretty Things. We split on How to Deal, 2 thumbs up for Seabiscuit, 2 thumbs down for Johnny English.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroper.tv or at movies.com and read us in print at suntimes.com. And until next week, the balcony is closed.
You know, you're so right about Seabiscuit, how much we care about this horse. And they must have had several different horses playing the role, and just wonderful work with the animals involved.
And, of course, we never
there,
mentioned the horse at all, and it probably should get starring credit along with the actor.
The animals are more sympathetic than a lot of humans.